Hola a todo el mundo y bienvenido a mi canal. Yo me llamo Sirey. Soy una abogada afro-latina licenciada practicando la ley criminal, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a continuar de hablar de Luigi Mangione. Si quieren más video en español, nada más dime allá abajo. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latina criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has a severe fascination with true crime cases. Listen, you guys, it came to my attention relatively recently that there is an update in the Luigi Mangione case that we need to discuss. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is the continued saga or our continued coverage on the case of Luigi Mangione. So just last week, on March 18th of 2026, Luigi Mangione's defense attorneys filed a letter with the U.S. District Court for the state of New York, urging the court to move his federal trial because they felt like it was a conflict somehow with his state trial. Let's go ahead and read that letter and let me give you my opinions on it. I also heard that the prosecution in the federal case responded on March 22nd of 2026. Let's talk about that too. Dear Judge Garnett, on February 3rd of 2026, this court entered an order setting the schedule for Mr. Mangione's federal case with in-person voir dire starting on September 8th of 2026 for an October 13th, 2026 trial. As part of this schedule, the jury questionnaire process would start on April 13th of 2026, with the parties exchanging proposed questionnaires that would be distributed to potential jurors the week of June 29th of 2026. As this court is aware, on February 6th of 2026, Justice Gregory Carro of the New York Supreme Court set Mr. Mangione's state trial for June 8th of 2026. When setting this trial date, Justice Carro noted that if the federal trial did not take place in fall of 2026, he would move the state trial date to September 8th of 2026. As a result of these competing schedules, Mr. Mangione is now in the position of needing to prepare for two complicated and serious trials at the same time. This scenario violates several of Mr. Mangione's constitutional rights. First, Mr. Mangione has a right to meaningfully participate in all stages of his trial, including the jury selection process. As the Supreme Court has noted, jury selection is the primary means by which a court may enforce a defendant's right to be tried by a jury free from ethnic, racial, or political prejudice or predisposition about the defendant's culpability. Accordingly, jury selection is a critical stage of the criminal proceeding. Because Justice Carro scheduled the state trial for June 8th of 2026, Mr. Mangione is now in the impossible position of having to review 800 jury questionnaires during the week of June 29th of 2026, while on trial for second-degree murder in state court. As a practical matter, this would not be impossible. Every trial day, Mr. Mangione would be taken to court for trial and returned to MDC later that night. By the time Mr. Mangione returned to the MDC, it would be too late for a legal visit for counsel and Mr. Mangione to review the completed jury questionnaires. On non-trial days, counsel and Mr. Mangione would be preparing for trial and would not be able to spend the required hours to review 800 juror questionnaires. Moreover, because each completed questionnaire would include the potential jurors' identifying information, Mr. Mangione would only be able to review the questionnaire in the presence of counsel and would not be allowed to keep the questionnaires at the MDC. Given all these practical restraints, Mr. Mangione would not be able to meaningfully review questionnaires and would not be able to assist counsel in determining whether to challenge potential jurors for cause, as he is entitled to. Second, both the federal and New York constitutions guarantee a defendant's right to the effective assistance of counsel. Though fierce advocates for their clients, defense counsel cannot be in two places at once. Realistically, defense counsel cannot be defending Mr. Mangione in state court on second-degree murder charges that carry a maximum sentence of 25 years to life, while at the same time also reviewing 800 questionnaires for a federal case that carries a maximum life sentence. Moreover, counsel will not be able to adequately prepare for the federal trial because they will be on trial in state court. Third, Mr. Mangione is entitled to a trial by a fair and impartial jury. Unfortunately, the media reporting surrounding this case has been unrelenting and unparalleled. As a result, forcing Mr. Mangione to start the state trial on June 8th, 2026, 3 weeks before potential federal jurors start filling out jury questionnaires a few blocks away in Mr. Mangione's federal case, guarantees that the fairness and impartiality of Mr. Mangione's federal jurors will be negatively impacted by weeks of media reporting. This is particularly true in this case because the evidence in both trials will be nearly identical, given that both prosecutions are based on the same exact set of facts and both prosecutions will rely heavily on police work done by the New York Police Department. As a result, Mr. Mangione's potential federal jurors will be constantly bombarded with news reports and social media posts relating to the allegations and evidence against Mr. Mangione as they fill out juror questionnaires and in the subsequent weeks before they are impaneled in the federal case. Given these constitutional concerns, counsel is left with no other option than to respectfully request that this court adjourn in-person voir dire and trial in the federal matter to January 2027 so that Justice Carro can adjourn the state trial to September 8th of 2026. Thus, the current federal trial schedule would move roughly 4 months. This proposed schedule would allow sufficient time between the state and federal trials to address the constitutional concerns noted above, while also providing counsel additional time to gather all necessary information and adequately prepare for the state trial. That has different elements and different defenses than the federal case. We further note that this court made the following statement during the January 30th, 2026 appearance relating to the potential conflict of the trial schedules. I am aware of the letter that Mr. Seidemann filed with Justice Carro. You know, as I said from the outset, unless and until someone wants to make an application to me, my view is that that case is none of my concern. And I certainly can't, we have to proceed as if this is the only case, unless, of course, the government or defense, or if the Manhattan District Attorney wanted to send me a letter or something, we'll deal with that as it comes. I think I agree with Mr. Gentile that we will, barring some request otherwise. My intention is that we will set a schedule for this case as if it's the only case. And should an issue arise involving a conflict between the scheduling that either party wants to bring to my attention, you can certainly do that. But I think in terms of our management of this case, we ought to proceed as if it's the only case until the circumstances suggest otherwise. Because of the issues raised above, we are now coming to the court and respectfully requesting an adjournment of the trial schedule. We have spoken with the government about this request. The government notes that Mr. Mangione's state and federal matters are independent cases and therefore objects to adjourning the federal in-person voir dire and trial dates because of the state matter. The government has indicated that it will respond under separate cover. Okay, so as I told you guys previously, it's my understanding that the federal prosecutors responded to that motion letter, whatever we want to call it, on March 22nd of 2026. I don't think it's public yet, so I can't talk to you guys about it. But let me just give you guys my opinions on the letter that was filed by Luigi's defense team. Let me just start with my premonitions or my guesses on what's going to happen. So let's just start there. I would not be surprised if the federal court moved the trial. Let me just start there. I won't be surprised if the federal court moves the trial. Do I think that the defense attorneys in this case made a good argument? Slightly, a little bit, right? Because Luigi does have the right to be present and participate in every aspect of his trials and his trial proceedings, to include jury selection. But where I fall is, where the court falls and where I'm sure the prosecution will fall, they're two separate and independent cases. I understand what the defense attorneys are saying in that some of the charges might carry different elements, so they have to prepare differently. But he was charged both at the state and federal level for the exact same allegations. Those cases are treated independently, despite the fact that they're identical. The facts are identical. But again, I would not be surprised if the court decided to move this just for this reason. I think courts are typically very cautious when denying any request for a continuance, specifically for the defendant, because should there be a conviction, they don't want to be caught with some sort of reversible error. right? So I do think that the court is going to give them more time because we both know, we all know, you know, I know, the court knows that if there is a conviction in that federal case on appeal, Luigi will say the exact same thing he said here. So I wouldn't be surprised, despite the protests of the prosecution, despite the position of the court, if defense was granted more time. And I honestly feel like that might be the best thing to do here. But that's it for the Luigi Mangione update. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps me. Please do that. And also go ahead and leave me a comment. Just tell me what you like about it, or tell me your disagreement, or tell me what you think about my predictions. Let me know anything it is you want to let me know down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all take care.